As worthless as the existence of a participation award.
Give us something that makes the football game more of a
Please
football
snap
game
out
for
of it.
once.
It is. Pay to win is an overrated joke. It just limits the desire to discover.
But in this game, when you lose, you
All this
learn
terrible
nothing.
gameplay is what we want. A few cards lingering in the back of my head, it just kills hype, and that's not a good thing.
There must be a better product.
It's a joke, a disgrace, a waste of resources and potential. Truly a waste of a grand event, F tier. Hi, my name's Gary. I love football, but I'm not very good at playing it, so I look for alternative ways to live out this dream. But can't really afford a good computer or a good console to play high quality games. Being Asian, my parents wouldn't be so pleased if I asked for one, so I focus all my efforts on this game, FIFA Mobile, now known as FC Mobile. Honestly, the name change is still kinda dumb. I have been on this journey for 6 years now. I've experienced the game at its best and its worst, but now it's at a point where it feels like it has no future. So I just have to admit it, FC Mobile is hopeless. And I am not indicating that it's dead. It's still pretty much alive. Many people are still making videos and getting thousands of views, still welcoming newcomers who are unaware to the game's real state and alienating those who love the game or want things to be better. The true purpose of EA's FIFA mobile games has always been about attracting and not retaining, which still depends on how easily one can be exposed to the game's addictive nature. And it's unfortunate that this is not something that is proven only from FC Mobile, it's actually a recurring theme throughout the history of this game. I am aware that I am no special exception. If anything, I am just re-experiencing another repeating mark in the history of betrayals of EA's FIFA games on mobile. In this section, I won't discuss every past version of the game. If you want to learn about them, just watch Mobile Extreme. Here, I will be covering from FIFA 16 Ultimate Team to FC Mobile. So, let's get started. I don't think I will be upsetting many people when I say that FIFA 16 Ultimate Team is probably the best mobile version of FIFA. In its entirety, it was a pocket edition of the console game, which is probably why it was so good. It managed to be more of a football game than many of its predecessors. The gameplay was the best part of this season. Fast-paced with no redundancy, which allows for an exciting gaming experience where the player's creativity and fast decision making gets to shine. AI games had actual difficulty, which allows for more comprehensive training or just relaxing.
Skill with the ball to beat a man. Possibility. Oh!
Scoring wasn't guaranteed, which limited spamming and demanded more decision making from the players to even make it to the opponent's net to score that goal. Basically, what eFootball is now, FIFA 16 Ultimate Team was that 9 years ago. The graphics were really good, probably better than all of these seasons at least. The game also felt really lively, from the player's signature characteristics to the authenticity of the commentators.
There could be a banana skin here. Make sure you don't slip on it. Now that cross has only gone. Surely he's going to score here. Oh!
It was just an amazing experience all packed onto the screen of your mobile devices.
Winner of the first time Starter Cup, Bangalore FC. The winner has been announced. Oh, what a miss.
But it did not mean that this game didn't have any problems. The problem with FIFA 16 is not its gameplay then, but in pretty much every aspect that surrounds it. Like the name suggested, you only get to play one game mode, that being Ultimate Team. But without a basic career mode, tournaments, and quick match, or even a match of the week mode, it just feels a little bone dry. If you don't like Ultimate Team, you're just not going to stick around for too long, despite how well it plays. But even with how well the game played, the size and the resolution demand was another huge issue. If you didn't have the newest phone at the time and you're playing this game on an iPhone 5 or 6, the game would not even run.
I also wish that it was a little less intense on processing power, and I have had the game crash on me multiple times, but I guess that's really on me for running a 2015 app on a 2013 device.
Essentially, people want to have fun when they see a game like this, but they cannot even experience that without having to work their ass off for the most advanced mobile devices at the time, only to experience a bone-dry game with only one way to play. It wasn't for everyone, and with EA's goals of appealing to as many players as possible, that would mean that this was simply not enough. Therefore, they opted for changes. So what did EA needed to do? First, they needed to optimize the game by decreasing the game's quality deliberately and lowering down the storage use. Secondly, was making a more accessible interface. The biggest mobile games all share a common trait of being so easy to understand that the player knows pretty much everything they need to do when they turn on the game. And thirdly, the game needs to be profitable, not in the way of making features pay to unlock again, no, but just by making the microtransactions more eye-catching and more dopamine-induced. And with all of these steps, EA's big step into the mobile game industry began. Released in October 10th, 2016, EA changed the game into a fucking card game, and that's not even exaggeration. The game itself was a conflicting picture. Firstly, the graphics looked absolutely horrendous. The players' models looked like it was pulled straight out of Roblox, and the only ways to play the game was versus attack, training, and AI games. No online multiplayer. So yeah, the football part of the game wasn't even done right, because it was not the main draw. The primary attraction lays in everything surrounding it. The interface was much more welcoming and accessible, and the cards looked absolutely beautiful. I still have to admit that 17 and 18 are the seasons with the best card designs ever, period. And that was because it was the main selling point, where EA invested the most and where they wanted the players' attention the most too. And even though so far FIFA Mobile just sounds like a boring card game, weirdly enough, it worked. It opened the door to a new wave of players, and it managed to achieve some incredible milestones. In the quarter after its release, FIFA Mobile achieved the 4th most downloaded app worldwide, only under Super Mario, Subway Surfers, and Pokemon Go. And along with that was a new generation of FIFA Mobile content creators, well, at least a few of them. Some of your favorite FC Mobile YouTubers started here because of the game's easy-to-play nature and its richness of content. The microtransactions were really pretty, it looked shiny, there were these sparkles and sound effects that appeal to a kid's need of dopamine, and it makes for a very eye-catching video, which has been a winning formula since for every easy YouTube content. And then these people would bring the game to even more people, making the game even bigger. But on the flip side, it's sad to note that this wave of new players would not know about the skill-based exciting game that FIFA 16 Ultimate Team was. Now they would only know FIFA on mobile as this ridiculously simplified football-themed card game. This gamble from EA worked tremendously well, but it came at the expense of the players who loved the previous seasons. They hated this shit. To them, this was an embarrassing downgrade out of the blue, and it obviously was. It's not like they're asking for anything much. They had a proper football game to enjoy on their phone, and then it was taken away from them by EA, now being forced to play FIFA 98 or something. And with this betrayal, you'd imagine they get something back. Well, guess what people had for compensation?
Nothing.
They had already lost their well-made authentic gameplay, and now they had nothing to compensate for the teams that they built. It was simple, they were betrayed, and unfortunately, this wasn't the only time that EA did this. With the successful gamble that was FIFA Mobile 17 and then 18, EA was now promising an enhancement. A promise for the gameplay to become more authentic while still being the progressive type game. FIFA Mobile 19 arrived and it failed? I always thought highly of Season 3 until I looked at some stats, and apparently it didn't do well at all, even though it should be, right? The game was an overall enhancement in graphics. No longer the chubby looking Roblox models, the football players actually look like football players again now. Online multiplayer was re-added, now renamed head-to-head. Finally, the community had the privilege to experience something that had already existed 3 years ago, and the gameplay was certainly something. I have to admit that I was one of those people who really liked this season. AI games in Season 3 were really difficult, but the rewards were really worth the efforts you put in. It was like winning a trophy in FUT 16 Mobile in Legendary difficulty. And also, the gameplay was really fast and concise, and it led to the game being quite unrealistic, but still really fun. Even if you don't play much head-to-head, just playing AI games alone was another world of fun. However, not everyone liked this. It didn't have the components of a standard mobile game. Firstly, there wasn't a long campaign mode for people to grind, essentially losing the game's grindability. But even with a campaign mode as concise as 19, it was really difficult to complete. People want to finish a campaign to feel a sense of completion, but with this level of difficulty, especially in the final games where it would be like playing against the devil in Cuphead, it felt impossible and discouraging. And with the game being so fucking fast and cracked, it made it even harder for the new players to adjust. If you did not know the spam meta in this game, you would be lost. It felt like EA wanted to make a gameplay hybrid of FIFA 16 Ultimate Team with the tough AI games and FIFA Mobile 17 and 18 with the super simplified gameplay. And even though it was a bold move, it ended up not fitting so well with their new user base that they had built up from Season 1, as well as the newcomers that could not adjust themselves to this swamp. You can see in the stats that there was a hype for the initial stages of the season, but it just slowly died out. If the numbers didn't convince you, the legendary Stop D and my OG Chillboy had considerations to uninstall the game and stop making videos just because of this change. This tweet blew me away when I first found out about it. Looking back, FIFA Mobile 19 was like Tyler, the creator's cherry bomb, a bold move that had many people not really satisfied, but the creator ended up learning the most. And I guess EA had to open their ears to listen because their number one mission of attracting new players was facing some turmoil. So they opted for changes. What did EA needed to do this time? First, make AI games easier, like really easy, to the point that you can win AI games as a boo-boo toddler, or even if you were playing with two hands tied behind your back, literally. And secondly, make the game a bit more realistic, or in other words, slow things down. By doing this, it would give EA ample opportunities to improve the defending, dribbling, and shooting, especially the shooting, so the new players can get good more efficiently. And with that, EA was back on track. Just like 17 and 18, I'll discuss Season 4 and Season 5 in one section, because they were pretty much indifferent. And I'll be going through some things first before actually talking about these seasons, so hear me out a little bit. As someone who loves a challenge in order to claim something, I felt that FIFA Mobile 20 and 21 really failed to deliver that. It was lucky that Division rivals didn't change much, but look, let me explain. As someone who played this game for some sort of completion, even in a small scale, Division rivals would not let me have this now, wouldn't they? It is an endless race, and it's tiring, and I wouldn't want to do that forever. If there was a game mode that would not make me hate myself, that would train me better, that should give me rewards based on my efforts, that would be the AI games. And to those who think that making AI games easier isn't a big deal, well, it does contribute to the death of campaign modes in this game. Campaign modes in Season 2 was really long, and Season 3 did a really good job at minimizing it without diminishing the ability to educate the players. Each game becomes harder than the next, and so were the prizes becoming more valuable. Although I really wish that they had not just made one campaign mode, but instead they could have just followed up with another one a few months later, with even harder games and even better prizes, because the campaign mode should be the main part of this game. It should be either super long or continuously changing, while promos should only be the side quest. That is why FIFA Mobile 18 campaign mode was so loved. Even though there were so many and they were all so fucking long, it still fulfilled its educational and adventurous purpose of a game. As for the prize, even if it was just a 92 card, the upgrading system allows you to use that card in whatever ways you want, except selling them. But even that was a sensible choice, because these cards would act like a medal, a reminder that yes, I spent a week playing this campaign mode, shredding through walls using a Sorrow to get this motherfucker. A sense of fulfillment that EA has taken away from us, or at the very least trying to shrink it down. For Season 4, EA tried to make a campaign mode which is somewhat similar to Season 2, but it fell flat completely because it's too short and the final prize fucking sucks. Like really, Trezeguet, bro? Really? And you can see that they really didn't try at all. Only the Premier League had 108 games, and the rest had just like half of it. And all of the games are so fucking easy. I swear EA did this shit on purpose. It's almost like they tried to make people not care about campaign modes anymore, so people can diverge all of their attentions on promos, which is where EA really makes the cash. And that's why from FIFA Mobile 21, this game has not had a campaign mode ever again. Don't count that. Now back to what I was saying about AI games turning easy. Making the price too good, but the path of getting it too easy would make the game boring. So instead, make the price an essential currency that would lead to an ultimate price that can be achieved in two ways. The easiest way is to pay money and to buy the currency to finish ahead, or the casual way is just daily playing. But in order to force this particular way, it needs to be easy. Therefore, super duper easy AI games is the way to go, essentially making the grinding part of a game as easy as farming. And since the promo has an expiration date, people would need to play the game every day in order to get that prize. And if you didn't get the final prize, it's not because you couldn't beat the game, it's because you just weren't there, you know? The game is super easy, you just needed to be there, and you weren't there enough. So now everyone has this card and they're beating your ass with it. You have fallen behind. But don't worry, if you didn't get the prize, you get a chance to do it again. And I hope you learned your lesson. And you're gonna get it this time, bro. And after that, you're gonna do this entire thing again. And again. And again. And again. And again. Yeah, this is me in uni, studying, well, pretty much mentally glued to my phone. As if my phone was my kid and I'm doing some take my kid to work day type shit. And I wasn't even fully focused on what the lecturer was saying, by the way. Like my head at this time, a game on mute is getting more attention than a guy passionately speaking. Like I know I'm cooked, bruv, but I know I'm cooked, bruv. Like with how effectively implemented the promos were in this game, it ingrained it into me a really bad habit, where I usually feel really weird if I don't grind every day. And I know it's quite harmless at first sight, like I'm not losing money and I only need to spend around 20 minutes a day for it. But then I just kept doing it and now look at me. Like keep this going and it's gonna knock your feet off someday. I just don't know when. See kids, that is where grinding and farming in FIFA/FC Mobile gets you. It would create some sort of habit that slowly transforms itself into a vicious cycle that can potentially leading to you becoming a mobile game spending addict. And believe me, once you spend those first dollars, the next $100 would just look like pennies to you. I was lucky to not have any money on me during these seasons because there was season resets, where resets would happen between these seasons. And these weren't remodels of the games or anything. It was just bringing things back to zero and calling it an opportunity to do all of this shit again.
Doesn't that just sound so exciting?
I'd argue that a season reset like this only benefited EA. As I said, EA is more focused on attracting new players, and a season reset fits this. People would be at a starting line like everyone else, right? And that would mean EA would have a new source of gold, without having to spend any respectable efforts on innovation or maintenance. Not only people didn't have anything new to experience, they had also lost shit. And yeah, I know that the game is free, and technically if you didn't spend money in this game, you didn't actually lose anything. You only wasted your time, your dedication, but that doesn't have any tangible value, right? Well, if anything, it just kinda makes your followers hate you even more. We don't want to grind for something knowing that it's going to be ashes in a year, with little to no compensational value whatsoever. And it's obviously worse for those that did give EA the cash, because they got fucked for like 3 times, and for what? If you're not showing up in a YouTube video or show me your best pack opening Twitter thread, then the only compensation you had was this legacy mode, when you can use your active lineup of the previous season, but it was only for this mode and the rewards only had value in like the first 2 months. You're telling me 11 months of grind for 2 months worth of compensation. Truly the EA way, my friends. It would feel fine the first time, but then the second and then the third time hit and you would eventually tire yourself out. You were gonna have to feel discouraged from doing this shit at some point, or else it wouldn't just be your wallet that is draining. Well, at least not according to this article writer. Listen to this shit. So here's our advice. Embrace the reset, plan for the reset, and take it for what it truly is, a chance to refresh the game, renew your interest, and start over with a plethora of new tasks to undertake. Remember your first run through division rivals in both versus attack and head-to-head, and the fight to build a team full of GOAT players with gradually elite players, and the joy of achieving your first master player? Remember how satisfying it was? Well, that's all about to happen again. Therefore, it's a good thing. Oh my god, the disconnect is it's unimaginable. I'm surprised that this didn't come out by Jan, man. Like, I don't know. But look, even if we had to lose pretty much everything, was it so hard to give your loyal followers something new? Or at the very least, fun? Because EA really did not try to do that. If you had played all of the seasons before Season 5, then I bet that Season 5 would probably land as the worst one. Not only did EA use the same cycle of events over and over again, but their only chance to make the game even exciting was immediately fumbled because EA did not have the official licenses for the Euros and Copa America. Not only were the AI games easy, but the game itself was easy. What do I mean by this? Well, just take a look at this.
Happy feet. One more combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco.
As you can see, I didn't do that. It was the game's AI. So yeah, it was a very conflicting picture yet again. The AI games that we played against were the most chorish, lamest shit ever, and yet the AI that played the game for us would make Prime Barcelona look like Perth Glory.
I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are.
You didn't even have to play the game to climb ranks. What am I here for? This trend appears to foreshadow EA's direction of all of the seasons following. It seems that EA doesn't really want people to play their games and would rather that you focus on opening packs and showing your best looking teams. And with how aggressive I have been going about these seasons, you would think that they were failures from EA. Well, I am only mad about it because it worked. I guess making the world's easiest football game is a masterful move to pull on new players, because FIFA Mobile experienced consistent growth after Season 4, and thanks to COVID locking everyone's ass up at home, Season 5 downloads surged. And isn't that a familiar sight? You know, I really wish that I didn't enjoy Season 3 as much as I did, because I wouldn't have felt so betrayed walking into Season 4 and Season 5. And from these two examples, you can see that EA knows how to create a good game, also knows how to create hype for the new players, but that's the only extent to which they're willing to go. In my opinions, I don't think they really seem to give a fuck about the people playing their games, whether they enjoy it or hate it, because if the game performance doesn't achieve a set of milestones, then they would not hesitate to change the game to something that can pull in new players, even if it means making it worse. EA knows that they don't need to retain players. If you want to play an authentic football game on your phone and actually enjoy it, this game seems like the best choice, but as you play it, it slowly becomes more about grinding, more about building a team of high OVR players than actually playing the football. Anyone that plays this game for a few months can simply figure out this bullshit, and when they get mad about EA not hearing them, they'll quit. And then what? EA doesn't care if you quit, because there will be more people to fill in the slots, and it's done a lot easier now considering that the game is free and the fan base for the king sport will only grow. I have said in part 2 that EA looks at gamers' love for football as a way of gaining, and while that sounds like a normal corporate goal, it has led to their method becoming more soulless. Even when these examples were of things that happened years ago, it still feels prevalent and familiar because of what FC Mobile is. I don't think I can talk about how FC Mobile is a betrayal without talking about what it betrayed. FIFA Mobile 22 was a pretty good season. The gameplay was the carrying factor. In Season 6, the game was slower, but it never felt annoyingly slow, because there was no redundant animations, making movements more effective. It felt like playing a football game where things are a lot more down to earth. Spamming was quite impossible, by which I mean cross and headers and mid-pitch through balls weren't really meta, but there was a new spam on the block. Lane change was added in this season and it caught the community on flames. People and their moms started using this shit. And of course the graphics were great. Like the colors of the pitch not only made the game more authentic, it also helps with the contrast to not confuse the vision of the user. You could have any weather you want and it would never make the game look annoying or blocking your vision or anything. Like for FC Mobile, you can just pick the blue ball and it will camouflage itself because the contrast and the lighting of this game is dog shit. But back to Season 6. One problem I have with FIFA Mobile 22 was that it was kinda boring. Firstly, there wasn't a campaign mode. Let's not call the Icon's Journey a campaign mode, cause this shit is shortish like my housework. It's too easy and boring as fuck. And on top of that, the promos weren't so good. There wasn't anything new and there was very little ways to make coins, which overall just makes the grinding annoyingly chorish. Remember what I said about how if you didn't play the game for a few days, then you would end up missing the ultimate prize? Well, that was exactly the case with Team of the Year, Mbappe. Apparently, leaving the game for just a week to do your exams would end up with you being 1,000 miles behind everyone else. And of course, I couldn't do it again, cause there was only too many Team of the Year's promo in a year for me to do that. But I would say that the season did end it on a high note. I really liked the Heroes Exchange. I really wish that they would bring this back and not make the prizes untradeable. Oh wait, they did do that. And people are praising EA for this? What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Apology in advance, but I swear, the people who are praising this addition must be new to this game. And look, it's totally fine if you're happy. However, I just feel bad for you guys, that this is what you're consuming with a smile on your face, because you guys may never get to experience what peak FIFA Mobile truly is. Apparently some people still think Season 7 is trash. Well, to that I say, just take a look at this video of somebody just wandering around doing nothing in Team the Season 23 and got 1 million views. Season 6 was slow, so EA decided to speed the game up for Season 7, and this was a great choice. I would describe the experience of this change like, for FIFA Mobile 22, you were learning to drive a car, so you would use like a Toyota Vios. It's slow, but it does its job well. And then for 23, you were given a Supra and then you would start drifting, because this was exactly what this transition felt like. And this was peak FIFA Mobile. The gameplay was exciting, the defending was simple and concise, and yeah, attackers were fast, but defenders were fast too, giving the game balance. And midfielders actually had a bigger role. They could be your second strikers or additional center backs, and that is what you should want. You should want your center mid to be active both back and front. Compare that to FC, where your center mid barely moves as they take more of defensive role now. Yaya Toure in Season 7 was a literal god. Every corner of the pitch, he will be there. His positioning was even better than most strikers. While in FC, if you don't have like the best Yaya Toure, then he'll just be there, more defensively than actually attacking. Because I guess the best attackers in your team is your fucking center back, even though you have 7 up front. In Season 7, you did not have to feel obligated to put your fullback at center back. You didn't even need to buy the best cards. You could have a good card and they would still do their job well. And there was plenty, and any price for that matter. Cards were easy to try and easy to sell, giving you more leeway to explore, which is something you will never see again in FC. And this was when EA released, in my opinion, the best promo in the history of this game, the 2022 Qatar World Cup. And I mean, it's kind of a duh thing, but you need to understand that EA does not fuck around when it comes to these big events, because this is when people will try to seek out some alternatives to scratch that football itch during a grand event like the World Cup. And with all of the licenses, EA's FIFA games were obviously the best attractions. If anything, I just wish the AI games were harder, because this shit was just easy, bruh.
You didn't have to cut me off. I can never know we were nothing. I don't even need your love, but you treat me like a stranger, and I feel so loved. You didn't have to stop so long.
But overall, it was just great and just so nostalgic looking back at what we'll never have again. And after this was a series of pretty well-made events. Season 7 was just a perfect package, making the November of 2022 to August of 2023 very special for FIFA Mobile players. We enjoyed these moments very much, but I don't really know whether it was because of actual enjoyment of the game or everyone being aware of what's coming. Because before that, on May 10th, 2022, one of the most devastating divorces was announced in the world of football. FIFA split up with their longtime partner EA, and well, things has never been the same again. Another season reset was announced, and it only went downhill from here.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Take this shit from me, Bruh. Sir, get down! Sir, get down!
Let's talk about FC Mobile. Hello everyone, this is a very different video from what I've been making so far, but I believe if you are a fan of EAFC 24 Mobile or FIFA Mobile or an active member of the community, assuming if there is, or just like listening to people ranting about EA, then maybe stick around. When the Euro 2024 event came, I had really believed that there would be changes that would at least make this game a bit playable. Not to my surprise, there was none. Only a new event with a buttload of new cards that people would care about 1/4 of, and some lackluster changes to the gameplay. The donors of the Euros and the Copa America events, especially that, really pushed me to make this video. And I won't just be talking about how the event is boring, I'll use this as an excuse to say that FC Mobile is really bad. It is the worst that it has ever been. And though it might sound like a clickbaity title, I have my reasons, because with every dumb changes EA makes to the game, I started to be more convinced that EA is not that stupid with their antics, but we all know because they all fucking love money. And so in this video, these are the points that I'll be going through, and let's just get straight into it. Even when a new season started in September, I thought the game was just a mist of boredom, because outside of the boring ass events and rankings, there's nothing much to do, and people have been asking for a re-edition of modes like career mode or kickoff, something else to enjoy outside of the sweatiness of Ultimate Team. But since those game modes don't make Papi EA no money, I guess asking for them to come back is like asking England to win the Euros. It's just not gonna happen, isn't it? And things have been like this for so freaking long. Though there were Champions League and now it's the Euros, you can pick the team and play as them for free. Yeah! Well, can you at least make them a bit harder? Cause I'm playing Legendary difficulty, but it feels like I'm playing beginner. And with that logic, what the hell would it feel like if I play beginner then? And also, the rewards suck regardless of the difficulty. And so it feels like a fucking chore. Yeah, it's easy to do, but it takes so much time. At least in the chore in real life, I'm cleaning my house, but in here, I'm just wasting my time. And to be honest, this has been a problem with the AI in EA games for a while. Like Star Wars Battlefront story mode, it is,
What the fuck? Oh, it's you guys. Come on, get out of here. They didn't even hit me once. I'd like to let you guys know that I picked the hardest difficulty. I'd like to remind you guys that I did pick the hardest difficulty.
I mean, so far it's just stupidly easy. Like, the stormtroopers here have got worse aim than in the movies. He hit me! He just stopped. He's stopped moving. We killed him!
At least back in FIFA Mobile 19, playing against the CPU was hard because the scripting was just so obvious and the rage was just out there. But at least it was something. I unironically miss the requirements for each CPU games. Score a hat-trick, score 2 goals with midfielders, 1 goal with defenders. It's a lot, I know, but maybe you can make the rewards worthy of our efforts. Then that'd be something fun, I guess. Now, for every obligated game with the CPU, it just feels like a boring chore. If I was to ever have a friend that hasn't played any football game, I'd rather recommend eFootball than this stink. Yeah, that game is dumb, but at least it's dumb fun. Just amp up the difficulty, EA. How much glue do you want to drag us through? Cause this shit is slow and boring. Talking about slow and boring. The April update has come to chew bubblegum and kick ass, but there was only ass, no bubblegum. I don't even understand why people are not ranting more about this. They talk about a promo being boring and costly as if it's killing the game, but yet they don't talk about the sluggish and straight up brain dead gameplay as the one holding the fucking knife. Before the April update, the flow of the gameplay was, I wouldn't say it was the best, but at least it was comprehensive and consistent. Mostly consistent. Okay, actually sometimes consistent. Your card has more than 110 speed, then that was already enough to run like Max Verstappen. Dribbling was smooth, solos were slick, and the ball actually sticks to the fucking feet. And then the 2024 April update came, and EA the fucking Lord himself came and promised to improve the responsiveness of the dribbling and the passing, baby. I was hooked, preparing for more fun shit. And then
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
like, what the fuck just happened? Why is he twitching like that? Is Petit harassing Zidane? Like, why is he moving like a 3D printer? The speed of the game isn't just about the acceleration of the player, so don't bring up that buy a faster card argument on me. I believe it should be about the chemistry, how players move around to support the ones with your input, how quick players react, how fast the decision making is. I don't mind the game being too fast, I just think it makes it more fun and the sweatiness actually makes sense. But now my Angel Di Maria dribbling feels like David Datro Fofana when the script hates me. And the reason I think of why the game now feels slower is because of the addition of animations. This has happened for a while now for all of the EA Sports games, and people are mad about this obviously. But with the reputation for cupping their ears when people complain, they decided to bring this crap to their mobile game too. And look at where we are now. Every game feels like it's taking place on fucking quicksand. And the movement feels even worse when the players entered a packed situation. Space occupied by so many players, and it leads to their responsiveness just getting fucking removed. And that is so annoying and so unfair, especially if your opponent's entire defense is 2 packed buses. In summary of this, movements just feels worse after the update. Cards have to achieve an overwhelmingly high rating on their speed and dribbling in order to be half as good as it was a few months back. And of course, I cannot forget about versus attack. For me, this game mode has been heavily affected by these changes. Even from the very start of the season, I just feel like versus attack is just so much worse. I really believe that versus attack only fits with the most unrealistic but concise gameplay, not realism. Now, it takes a lot more time just to move or pass, and the slow and sluggish gameplay just makes this game so tedious. If you want a basic analysis on how versus attack on FC Mobile was, then I suggest watching this video of mine. I'll put the link in the descriptions. What you can take away from this video is that versus attack was all about concise, quick movements and choices, rather than sluggish realism. It's supposed to be a game mode where it's like a third grade quick math exercise, rather than a long ass equation to solve like it is now. No sir, I don't think playing versus attack after losing 10 head-to-head games is a good idea. It's just mentally damaging. Don't do that for the sake of getting some maidens. If the movement is slow and sluggish, then the defending in this game is just weird, bro. People complain about how manual control defending is dog shit, and so EA heard that and said, you know what, I'll add a non-controllable AI to help you defend. And the result is this, and it's even more dog shit. This shit didn't exist a few months back. Defenders started tackling without your input. It starts to beg the question, does defending need any player input nowadays? Is the player you're facing who's defending with 10 layers of buses actually doing the defending, or is it just EA blessing them for spending money on this fire bin? Well, I believe the right and fair answer is still yes. You would still need to have input in the defense to actually make it effective. Though I'd say for half the time it's fine, but it is still unfair. This is how to actually defend in FC Mobile now. In a one-on-one situation, you will not pick the player that is facing directly at the opponent. Instead, you choose the one around either on the left, right, or behind, as if you're the second defender. The defender without your input will then be put in a marking stance, and maybe can tackle. I'm saying maybe because this is where it gets tricky. If the opponent is quick enough to do a skill, let's say lane change, then you're dead. The defender will get their ankles twisted. It's supposed to be the player with your input that should have all of the defending abilities, but even then, the defenders never seem to mark the ball, and it would lead to them accidentally running into anything but the ball. And again, the responsiveness is dog shit. So if you let yourself into the situation, your player is already anchored there. They will very slowly make it back on track, but then the ball is already in the fucking net. What the fuck? It doesn't stop there, because when it gets on its dark side, the AI defending would sometimes reach a point of being unhinged, when your own player uncontrollably sabotages your entire defense, like the script is purposely trying to make you lose. The second defender is just dumb. They always take the dumbest route just to get to the opponent, and even then, it's like my defenders are aiming for the opponent instead of the ball. In fact, why do you want to hurt people so much?
You are made of stupid.
And of course, I can't forget this shit, where the ball always bounces back to the opponents. How the fuck are you supposed to defend against this? And again, these redundant animations happening with no fucking input whatsoever just grinds my gear to a halt. It's like playing a co-op game with a friend who doesn't know how to play. That's just how it feels like, man. Your input matters less now, because when the Death Note is scripted, the game would just be frustrating and exhausting to play. I'm gonna go through this one real quick. Rather than making it easier to defend, EA nerfed crossing headers by making the strikers more weak and stupid. How many times have your strikers run into a good position, jump up, and only to fail to header because their strength is fucking deleted? This limits the usability of cards without 4 or 5 star skills. Before the April update, the positioning of cards below 4 stars was something you could at least be excited about. Harry Kane, Osimhen, Lukaku, Vlahovic, Morata, Dennis Undav, Fulkrug, Dovbek, Ole Watkins, Marco van Basten, fucking Mitrovic. These are cards with only 3 stars, but what makes them special? Their positioning and strength. And now only a few players like Haaland remains effective. You know, I know EA has a soft spot for Haaland, but they gotta understand what fairness is, right? It's not like they're gonna give Haaland a 4-star card. Man, fuck you. guys, it's me again. A few minutes back I did say that this game was sometimes inconsistent. And what I mean by that is that for a week or something, the game would just feel responsive at least. You know, the fast-paced gaming, you could at least feel it. Fast players would actually feel fast, and the defending would be fine. But then after the April update, it's like a different game every day. The game flow would just fluctuate a lot, and it would lead to a situation where something like in the morning you play the game, it would feel fine, you know, the pace is there, the responsiveness is there. But then at night, the game would just feel dog shit. Despite the Wi-Fi, it's all green, normal. The game would just be really bad. Your players just don't have any responsiveness whatsoever. And you might ask, what does inconsistent gameplay looks like? Well, it's fucking torture.
Like, why can't my team have comprehension between the players? Like, just passing normally in this game seems like the most difficult task because they never fucking connect. Can the ball just go to the player's feet instead of rolling to somewhere else randomly? Why do you want to become eFootball so much? Oh wait, I'm sorry to say that. That's just unfair. At least in eFootball, the ball will usually target your teammate. Like, obviously. But here in FC, it seems like EA really pushes the player to make more errors. And that's really dumb. Also not relating much to randomness, but why can't the player chase to catch the ball instead of standing still like a fucking moron? They will obviously get tackled, no shit. Also, this game fucking loves nutmegs. It happens so commonly that it's actually stupid now. It's a pretty normal thing in real life, I know, but in this game, it's a lot more fucking stupid. Why the fuck is my defender always spreading his leg to a degree that the gap is just so perfect for the ball to go through their balls to ball where the ball needs to ball? How the fuck can you defend anymore, knowing about EA's animation developers' fetishes? And again, I know nutmegs happen in real life, but this is a game. But when it happens on a ubiquitous degree, it's unfair. These brainless EA developers thought that by adding more realism to the game would make it better, but they couldn't be bothered to just check and know that their game is a clusterfuck right now. I have to wonder if the developers themselves even play the game, because any rational, careful developer would not want to change the game to this state. Also, I've been playing this game a lot, and I'd like to recommend something for new players. Just don't play this game at midnight, because like Five Nights at Freddy's, it gets quirky at night. If you don't believe in scripting, then you're an idiot. You know how wrestling is fake? Well, scripting is pretty fucking real. If it's not obvious before, then it is too apparent now. I could no longer enjoy a game without feeling like EA is staring right at my soul and telling me to
kill yourself now.
I mean, look at this example. The proof is clearer than day. And that basically sums up scripting DDA in a nutshell. Like I said in the randomness section, nothing in this game is consistent. Not even a fucking pass. It is either too ungodly good or just too monkey-like stupid. Or for times when the script is desperate, a thoughtless move would become a masterpiece, but for any careful moves would then be disrupted. So any good thing that happens just doesn't feel earned, and for the dumb shit, it's just pure frustration. There's no such thing as a skill gap in this game. There's only a fucking pay gap or a luck gap. I cannot imagine how a free-to-play can even survive in this game now, really. Knowing that the game will go against you if you don't spend your sweet dollars on a bunch of retards shoving your sanity right up their ass. And if it's not obvious that I've been hinting so much, the refereeing in this game is fucking abysmal. Would you believe me that the refereeing was actually consistent before April? You did some physical contact on the opponent, the ball wasn't touched, it's a foul. And I know there are nuances in real life and shit, but for a mobile game, I expect some sort of consistency, not realism.
I've fallen!
We're not fucking stupid, we know a foul when we see one, EA. I came across a comment on the App Store about FC Mobile, where the commenter criticized the game for being written by people who don't know football at all. And this comment was just a month or two ago, at least from the point I'm making this video. Honestly, I could not agree more, because after the April update, you can wrestle down your opponent, and it's not even a fucking penalty. These are fouls clearer than day, and then this one is? What the fuck? Before, some people complain about how the referee blew the whistle every time anything happened. Well, now it is chaos happening, and the ref is just fucking chilling. My god, what is it about English football that made these developers so horny? First, it was the automatic bus defending, and then now it is the brain-dead referees. Heck, they can't even get the offside rule right sometimes. I mean, you can't get more real than that. I swear to god, who the fuck is playing this game anymore? Is Jude Bellingham playing this game? Cause if that's the case, then shut the fuck up and win some Euros, Jude! Also, there's this shit, where you can do this as if it's like a script checking method. It's really strange to me that this meta have only existed since this season. I have never dealt with this shit in any of the past seasons, at least that's my experience. But oh my god, how the fuck are you supposed to deal with this shit? The defending is already trash, the goalkeeping is dumb as fuck, and so the only thing here you can hope for is just the opponents to fuck it up, or obviously luck. The passer is even using their less preferred foot to do this. Wait. How? So you're telling me that crossing with your less preferred foot would fly like this, but a long pass with your foot, okay, I don't know anymore. And also, by the way, low cross is meta now, and it is the ultimate script weapon. This type of passing is fast, and it is really unpredictable. Usually a low cross can be easily tackled, automatically by the way, and you need like no input to defend it, but when the script says the opposite, this is what you'll get. This is a type of goal that is sponsored by EA themselves. In a nutshell, scripting is very real and it is probably a part of the game at this point. Scripting will often distract the players from the fact that when they're winning, the opponent is having the worst time of their life, just so your R9 can score a ricochet, or the defenders just happen to spread their legs like they haven't had sex for a while. Meanwhile, when the jokes is on you, it would ruin your day and fuck your mental health, and potentially force you to spend more money on buying inflated price cards. And to add more salt to the wound, the duration of a head-to-head game just doesn't help at all. If you get conceded at the 70th minute, then the game's pretty much gone at this point. And since the game speed is always a mess, you don't really have time to get more goals or have a comeback, so it's pretty common to have like 1-0 wins or losses. And also, I must not forget, people do this. Haha, where's the countermeasure when you need one, EA? What's with you? And just a little game theory of mine, but usually when you have more possession, the script would likely prefer your team better. So if you're an asshole, a proud one, then EA will reward that. In layman's terms, it never feels fair. It's really bad, written by people who don't know football at all, or the rewards suck regardless of the difficulty. And so it feels like a fucking chore. Yeah, it's easy to do, but I'd rather recommend eFootball than this stick practice foot, because that shit is slow and boring. Every game feels like it's taking things like fucking quicksand, and the result is
You are made of...
this shit, or is it just EA blessing that we're spending money on this final bit? The fuck are you supposed to defend against? Because they never fucking connect. Hello random wanderers, I welcome you to this video where we will finally bury this pile of money hungry bats into the ground. So, this is a two-part honest review of FC Mobile. First of all, my biggest thanks to the people who have watched part 1 and left a like and commented on that video. I always want people to comment on my videos just to learn and hear from the pain or any concerns some people have for my mental health. Like, I'm fine guys, no worries. Also, a channel named Sally Jr. with 60,000 subs commented on my video, like holy shit. And from what I can see from his videos, they paint a very blunt picture of the actual state of a person playing FC Mobile. I mean, you can see for yourself.
Kylian Mbappe, and it's in! Real Madrid!
But he seems to be pretty chill and down to earth, and he actually plays the fucking game, which I totally respect. So yeah, Sally Jr., all I have to say is thanks.
My friend.
If you haven't watched part 1, well, you should, but if you don't want to, I'll just summarize that video for you. It is an in-depth analysis on the downgrade in the quality of gameplay in FIFA Mobile. From the lack of game modes, the promos and the CPU games are chores as fuck. The players' sluggishness and unresponsiveness which make versus attack boring and head-to-head extremely annoying to play. The removal and nerfing of features that limits discoverability, randomness happening now and then which completely kills any hope for consistent gameplay, and lastly, scripting/DDA being so omnipresent, leading to every win or losses in head-to-head feeling extremely unfair or undeserved. Now, for this one, it's going to be more on discussing why people don't want to play FC Mobile, EA's weird tendency to add unnecessary features, how there is no life in the community of this game, and just the total amount of fucks that EA gives for their little mobile side hustle, or the community in general, which is zero, because this game is an embarrassingly unfinished part. But before anything, I at least have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the new FC Mobile 25 update, so here it goes. Nothing changed. Like, this would obviously be the change that people care about the most, since there's no season reset. But holy shit, did EA not deliver. It is still the exact same unresponsive, sluggish moving, striker stupid, 100% scripted, pay to win schlock as it was in 24. But hey, at least there's this cool new game mode, except the rewards fucking sucks and Rush isn't even in the game. But the biggest, or at least the most reactionary change is with the difficulty of the AI, and many people are shitting their pants playing it. I mean, I had a bit of difficulty playing it, but honestly, it's actually nothing new because I recognized immediately that this AI is the same one in FIFA Mobile 19, which is the season with the most difficult AI. I can just describe a CPU game going something like this. Your entire team is nerfed, every player's positioning is all over the place, which leads to some rather embarrassing moments. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, whoa.
Huh? Oh, whoa. Hey, yo. I guess he got teleported out of the stadium, now he's back.
Every player's responsiveness is terrible. The crossing is shit, so don't try it. Your defender is like mildly good at tackling, but positioning is still terrible. So, try slide tackling instead. The opponent's defending is 2 parked buses, so try to move around and do finesse shots with every chance you get. The goalkeeper is pretty much a god, and since your player are strategically scripted to position in where they only get to use their less preferred foot, just trying to have a striker with both preferred foot to save your life. And if you're doing penalties, just fucking forfeit. You never win AI at its own game. So yeah, it's a big challenge, and it's pretty funny seeing people shitting their pants playing these matches. And I guess somebody at EA did watch my video, but even then I don't really think so. Mainly if that is the case, they clearly did not listen to everything. I said that if you were to make the AI games more difficult, then at least make the rewards worthy of our efforts. Like seriously, this is what you'll get after shitting and pissing in challenge mode. So yeah, there was like the tiniest bit of change, but it's nothing new. Like the new super difficult AI is just putting an old feature back onto the game for the fuck of it, and not even making it worth playing. So yeah, I guess it's still shit. And I guess Bellingham does play this game. Cause if that's the case, then shut the fuck up and win some Euros, you! Alright, let's get back into the meat of this video. Because this game is an embarrassingly unfinished product. So to answer on why people don't want to play the game, for part 1 again I already explained the dogshit quality of the gameplay, but I'd like to add more on that with this. I believe the only way to enjoy this game is to have this specific card at least upgraded to level 25. It's almost like a shield against scripting. Having this player on the team means you won't have to deal with any unfair disadvantages. Apparently the new dogshit event Hall of Legends gave us 2 more R9s. Oh my god. If you've seen my previous videos, it's pretty clear that I'm not a fan of this card. If you ever ask me what type of player I am afraid of meeting the most in head-to-head, I will not say the people that use these cards are the ones, because it is always either a really bad, toxic, parentless, bitchless loser, or a down bad EA glazer. No. I don't hate R9 as a player, I still think he is one of the greatest footballers of all time, even though he couldn't win the Champions League, but whatever. I have never used R9, and I have no intention of trying to buy it. It's way too expensive, and I'm spending money on making this video for you guys. The reason why I don't like this card is just because of how game-breaking it is, and I'm not saying that like a YouTube video title. The card just feels wrong. Like, what the fuck is this?
Fucking hell.
It has everything, both preferred foot, fast as fuck, strong as fuck, 5-star skills. The positioning is so good, leading to people doing the mid-pitch through ball gimmick that I mentioned in part 1. Again, it has everything, and it is obviously going to be the best card. And you might say, Gary, R9 has existed long before. He's always been in this game. Why is it only a problem now? Well, to that I say, any card back then can be meta if it falls into the right playstyles or if you know how to use them. Also, defenders back then were at least fast, so dealing with fast strikers ain't that much of a problem. And it only boils down to the player's ability to position their CB or manually defend well. The good old fast-paced gameplay where your input matters more, not how automatically as it feels right now. Therefore, any card can be good, and it's a lot more fun to change your strikers or wingers occasionally. But with the current state of the game, with the problems that I've mentioned before, I can only think of a few good strikers, with R9 being on top of course. What I'm trying to say here is that I feel like people are being pressured that in order to climb ranks, you have to buy meta strikers just to do the bare minimum, like running fast, having 5-5 footing so the players wouldn't hit the bar every time you meticulously aim for a finesse shot, or just not losing the ball like an idiot. And now, if I see someone using a Team of the Year R9 level 30, I cannot even blame them because of this. Remember when I said that the gameplay before the terrible April update was still acceptable? Back then, the game flow allowed non-ranked cards to be somewhat reliable. That's how I made these videos. I didn't have 10 Mascherano's in the reserves to rank up my base goat Mbappe, Robbie Keane or Davor Suker. No, I had some coins, so I bought their non-ranked or green versions, upgraded them to level 5 or 10, pressed screen record, and surprisingly, they managed to pull off some great performances. I believe this is a great way of testing cards before before you invest more into them. The cards would still be at their base level, so it only takes a little investment to get them to level 5. From there, you can play a few trial games and start to understand and speculate on what you're actually putting your money into. There was also a challenge mode where you could play against players in lower ranks, which was my place to test these cards out or maybe have fun with new promo cards, but then it was removed following the April update. And now, if your cards are not ranked up to purple, fully upgraded to level 20, if your card name is not Eusebio or Torres or Ronaldo, then that card existence is as worthless as the existence of a participation award. They will have nothing in them. All those numbers of 90 or something will mean nothing. It will only start to matter when it's 140 or above. This is just exhausting, man. Now people will only buy cards that are obviously be good, and this just limits the desire to discover. And since it takes so much to upgrade one card, I totally understand why some people would just rather keep using their Team of the Year R9 to this very day. I mean, I still occasionally meet some people who are using Pioneer Alexander Isak, but I guess those people have already left the game because... Also, why doesn't Isak have a Team of the Season card like 25 goals in 40 games and 3 goals in 14 games? Oh, what was I talking about? With the update now limiting the reason to discover, it's really hard to be excited for any promos, unless it's like a very exciting one like the Euros. But that idea of I can only try a few cards lingering in the back of my head, it just kills hype, and that's not a good thing. Seriously, what is the point of creating 1,000 cards each promo and only expecting people to use 10 out of 200? Well, I have a very understandable theory for this. They use AI for these cards. Remember the end of the era promo, an event created to celebrate some footballers' last season of football? And holy shit, I just find it disrespectful with the fact that they are untradeable. People can't even celebrate someone's career without having to invest too much to upgrade them to make them at least usable. At least back then, the upgrading system was simple, not as costly as it is now, so it wouldn't be too much to have fun with these cards. And now nobody, and not even a single soul, is using the end of an era cards, because they're untradeable shit. Unless you're having fun or making stupid videos like me, then maybe. Also, may I mention that it's not so easy to get Universal Mascheranos? For a free-to-play, this shit is as rare as emeralds. You get 2 or 3 a week, and 4 more in an unpaid Star Pass after a month. So that's about 10 Mascheranos each month. You know, before the Euros and before EA made things a little bit easier, you get 5 a month. Okay, let's talk more about untradeable cards. But first, let's wind the clock back 2 years. It was October 2022, the game was still FIFA Mobile, and the Hero's Journey just came out. This event kinda killed the game for a lot of people, except for my 17-year-old self. I fucking love this event. And the gist of the event is that in order to get an icon, you have to put a lot of cards into it. And I remember grinding for 2 or 3 weeks just to get an icon journey Clint Dempsey, and luckily the card fucking slaps. I did the same thing for Tim Cahill too, and that card also slaps. The feeling of achieving something outside of a rank in head-to-head, and here it's getting 2 cards that were really good, felt awesome, and sadly that is something that is still missing in FC Mobile. Also, if you didn't want to use them, you could just sell them because untradeable cards wasn't a thing yet, and they were good money. The Icon's Journey Tim Cahill cost like 100 million. I'm bringing this up because the main point is that take that 2022 Icon's Journey event, discard the event, make it an exchange, and also make the rewards untradeable, you get this. This is a staple dish in the exchange section at this point. EA is pretty much proud of it. I remember doing these exchanges back in Team of the Season, and I just swear on my life to never do it again. This is a fucking scam! You exchange untradeable cards and tradable cards to get untradeable cards? It's like multiplying by 0. As I grew older, I start to understand scams when I see them. But usually when teenagers see numbers, they don't give a fuck. They just spend their hard-earned coins into it, and then they'll go fucking crazy for a 95 Team of the Season Jamie Vardy that Lauren Blank would wipe his ass with. Also, is it funny that you're exchanging 4 for 3? In summary, the new rank up system is shit. The demands to make them semi-usable is high as fuck, and the resources to upgrade them is scarce like astatine. Untradeable cards are everywhere, and whoever's choice it was to make exchange cards untradeable deserves to be, I don't know, reincarnated in North Korea. And it's pretty sad to point out how people lineups have changed in the past few years. How did we come from people just having fun with creative or one team central lineups, even in high ranks, to this? In this section, I will just go through 30 minor problems I have with this game that annoys the fuck out of me. So, let's go! Ads. Who asked for this? Definitely not us. This shit came into the game after the April update. Quality of life change. This sign, like, is there any other helpful advices for players outside of if you want to dribble through an opponent, don't lose the ball, you fucking adding coins exchanged for tradable cards, but not for untradeable cards. They had this in 23, so why not do it again? Buggy lineup problems since the inception of this season, and only got fixed after a full fucking year. Literal ghost players that crashes the game. Graphics changes. You set it to medium, then play in an afternoon theme. It leads to some certain shading issues.
Am I alone in this, or didn't none of y'all notice he was white?
This net. Whose idea was this? They said this was a community-based update. Which one of you asked for that? Again, why the fuck is Nkunku part of Team the Season? Did you see his non-contribution? Also, where the fuck is
Bergamo Calcio
Team the Season cards? Did they do something wrong? We're gonna nominate players standing at 10th or got relegated, but the team that stood 4th won the Europa League? With a player who assisted the 3rd most goals? With a player scoring in the Europa League final? Nah, fuck that. Again, where's Team the Season Isaac, EA? And Ademola Lookman? Ante Budimir? In Copa America dogshit event, but where is James Rodriguez, the player of the fucking tournament? Making promos way longer than they should be, changing the mystery signings interface despite nobody asking for it, adding a highlight feature but you cannot forward or backward the footage, removing this category in extra time, like why? We were getting pretty decently priced cards to make a bit of money here, and you removed it. It's almost like if there's a good addition to the game and people liked it, EA would take that as an offense. Replacing experience cards with an upgrading system that requires your eyes to shatter and your fingers to blister. Adding music to highlights. What the fuck is this elevator shit? Adding one soundtrack to a single event, then immediately removing it once the event ended. And sadly it's a banger too. Adding this weird angle and highlights, like what the fuck am I looking at? This looks like a security camera in Freddy Fazbear's. Sometimes the POV would glitch after a free kick, so you would just blindly do shit for a few seconds. Not adding the ability to change set piece takers mid-game. Even eFootball fulfilled this basic function. Do you really think this thing's work outside of set pieces? Even eFootball actually makes your defender an attacker when you need it. Can I have something to enjoy with friends outside of having to build our own team up from scratch just to have some fun with my homies? Even eFootball fulfills this basic demand. Okay, I'll glaze eFootball in another video. Not adding specific filters, which leads to this problem.
Then you have to scroll through all this shit to get to something that you're gonna use to claim the Mascherano.
In the 3 most recent events, all cards are above 90 overall, and that completely kills off the purpose of Universal Dudex. EA recently lost their licensing for more Serie A teams, now being Inter and AC Milan. So now, in order to find their past cards, you have to search pretty specifically in order to find them. You can't just find them via teams now. It's like they're trying to hide them. Also, adding an untradeable filter in the market, where it's all about trading things. Are you fucking retarded? And why bother having programs with only untradeable cards in the market where people trade shit? I don't mind having every nation here and some nations don't have a player in this game, but why a program? What is this amateur shit? It looks like the player's wearing a shirt they bought for $3 and taped the logo. Also, why did EA update Kobe Mainoo's texture to what he looks like in November 2023? This man has beautiful hair and you forgot to add it. And lastly, the changing room is so bland. Like seriously, you have so many tools at your disposal, but only added the ability to change shirts, change socks, change shoes and numbers. That's it? Yeah, that's it. And that's some of the problems I have. There's probably more, but if you have some other problems, just comment down below because I want to read it. You know, create some atmosphere for this video. And with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about something outside relating to the game that I'm pretty passionate about.
Back in December 2023, one of my videos got a comment, and it was the most passionate thing I've ever read. And in it, the commenter wrote that the FC Mobile community is dead, and I took that at face value. I even thought if there had ever been a community in the first place, let alone dead. Well, the community for the console FIFA games was at least active for a common goal of shitting on EA products, but here the mobile community seems strangely passive. Even when the game is at this state, I would assume somebody's gotta hold EA accountable for the quality downgrade of FC Mobile, but it's more like everyone is just too jaded from trying to make EA listen, as they never seem to do. But like every FIFA community, there's gotta be some toxicity, and this one post I came across is more funny than sad. So this post is from a guy who got match fucked in professional 3 versus attack. So yeah, the power gap is pretty apparent. And the guy said, "Can anyone please tell me what the versus attack matchmaking mechanism is like? Like how to meet the same level opponents or at least have equal chances. I just created a new account to play to get a few new players, but every game I play just feels like the game is sending me a message like this game is not made for you." That's a pretty common memo that a lot of people get in this game. And here is where it gets funny. One guy commented, "Or is it because you're stupid and want to win more fans because it's versus attack and then meet these guys? You're so stupid you can't stand to win at the lowest rank, and then why complain?" So if you don't want to get what he's saying here is that if you want to win, why don't you stay at the lowest rank so you can get more wins? And firstly, the guy was just at professional 3. It's like a very low rank. It's like semi-pro difficulty in FIFA games. Secondly, he met a team with 99 overall, which is a rating that's usually in Legendary 3 or World Class 1 at least. And lastly, it kind of enlightened me a bit because I'm not going to debate on the toxicity. It's prevalent and it's what EA wants. It's more about how like the people playing the game are telling others that they're stupid for playing the game. So I'd like to conclude that if you play FC Mobile, you are dumb.
This is a joke, so please don't take it seriously. Oh no, there are communities for this game. It's just nobody wants to or just have no reason to care about it. Because why bother screaming if the lifeguard is deaf? And since the game is so pay to win, that leads to this cat of the bag situation. And moreover, with the game being so mentally detrimental, it just brings out the negativity in everyone. And it just leads to these two sad worlds clashing together for no good reason. And may I just say that the worst thing that EA can do is dare to label their changes as the most sought after enhancements, as if like they're saying that all of this terrible gameplay is what we want. And yes, I know many people wanted cross and headers to be nerfed down, but things like sluggish movements, boring game modes, inconsistent gameplay, 100% scripted games, advertisement, untradeable cards. I don't think these are the changes that we want. It's like EA is saying something like, our FC Mobile game is shit because the fans want it to be shit. In some way, it's like saying that we're stupid. Like, this is a fucking joke. And then I guess I'm the first person to hyper-analyze it because every normal behaving citizen or the ones that want the game to be better has left these hellish chains already. Seriously.
While I was editing this video, I came across an FC Mobile channel named Anti-EA, and this very channel alone can show you the entire picture of the FC Mobile community. First of all, my compliments to the chef. His videos are fucking amazing. And as a content creator myself, who edits his own videos, the commitment I can see put into these videos are admirable. And of course, people will say this, "Gary, he's just copying Nose 2 styles." And to that I say, I don't think that's copying. It's more like following a trend. Because the .exe trend has been in like every game. And also,
Do you really think it's easy to do this? Like, the .exe trend requires very fast-paced, entertaining, and highly edited videos. It's almost like an expectation for the video to be high quality when people read a title with .exe in it. And I thought I could do that, but then I failed miserably. But back to anti-EA. So his last videos on FC Mobile was a supercut of all of his FC Mobile videos. And it was also a goodbye to this game for him. In the pinned comment underneath the video, he mentioned that after the April update, the game became so shit. There was only pay-to-win players playing this game, and he quit the game and is now pursuing other things in life. Wish me luck. And brother, I wish you all the luck in the world. And just from this message alone, it says everything the actual community of this game wants to tell EA. If you make a game shit, slow, more pay-to-win demanding, we get jaded and then we quit.
And look, I might not have worked in EA Sports ever, but from the perspective of a consumer and a massive football fan, I believe that EA holds this responsibility to deliver a product that would meet football fans' demands, especially those who can't afford a PS5 or a good PC to play their console games. But instead of seeing our needs of enjoyment as a priority, they seem to focus solely on making more and more money. And unfortunately, their greed seems to have no limits, because when they are faced with the choice to make the game worse just to potentially get more people to spend money on their game, they would do it, and they have. And personally, and as someone who loves watching football and loves playing it sometimes, I don't know if there's another mobile game out there that can fulfill this gap.
Switch to eFootball. Try eFootball.
Switch to
eFootball.
It's
much better.
It's much better.
I've started playing
eFootball.
It's way better.
I started playing eFootball.
Football is like
eFootball is way better.
I've started
playing
eFootball.
It's
so much better.
I've started playing eFootball is way better.
It's 9 out of 10 years ahead.
It's so
much better.
So much better. Play eFootball. It's much better. I've started playing eFootball. Change to eFootball.
Beautiful sunshine. These are indeed conditions for the beautiful game.
And right when they needed it.
And he's done it! Yes! Have they done it now? Over the hills and far away! No catching them now! Pump, panache, and passion! And again, they simply do not know what has hit them. And he's managed to gift it back. And the shot! Got to be quick to recover this. But then shot a goal! No mistake! That is how you do it! And that is fabulous! A true beauty of a goal!
eFootball Mobile versus FC Mobile. The battle between two of the biggest football video game titans, and sadly, not everyone is actually having a serious conversation about it. What is that doing here? Get out of here! The most common conversation I see surrounding this topic goes something like FC Mobile and eFootball Mobile, or the other way around. Well, the conversation is starting to shift from eFootball actually having a fan base, while the other one is being shit on by its most devoted followers. Heck, it is being dogpiled on so much that this G decided to make a diss track on it.
My bad, let me keep it staying PG. FIFA 15 was the last.
This is a banger, they should teach this in school. And yes, I have been a very active participant in this trend, and maybe I started this fire, I don't really know. And look, I have been really aggressive and even mean to some extent, but in this video, I want to show my nice side, compliment some things a little bit.
Well, obviously not to this game, but in this video, I'll take eFootball as a comparison to FC Mobile and explain on why one game, despite being worse, managed to retain the love from its fanbase, while the other one is getting all the hate that it has always fucking deserved. Now, in order to glaze eFootball, I at least have to be fair and criticize the game's limitations or its biggest weaknesses that led to many people not really being fond of Konami's golden child. FIFA Mobile is better than eFootball Mobile. At least that is something I would say if I was an 8th grader. I'm saying FIFA Mobile, not FC, alright? You see, as a former child, if something is flashy and looks nicer and high quality, I would probably prefer that one better. And to be honest, to any new person who's not familiar with these two football games, that would probably be the case too. Like, these games are football games, but they are really different because their developers have really different plans for it. FC Mobile has better graphics. Well, at least the players' models look nice. They don't look contorted. There are more licensed team, and from the outside, it just looks more like a football game. Just turning on the game and you'll be immediately hit with a fucking dopamine grenade. Like, look at this fucking place. Colors everywhere. Promos moving left and right like a slot machine. Viewing a pack and look at all of these well-designed cards with lights, patterns and colors that you will not get unless you give EA more money. Like, seriously, the dopamine is insane. Like, if I was still a toddler, I would be hooked. Also, the game is a lot easier to play and also a lot easier to master, which means it is a lot easier to be a dick and a lot easier to be tricked into spending money in this game. The movement is most of the time crisp, the responsiveness is fast, but sadly it's getting worse for some reason, and it is a lot easier to do skills, and not gonna lie, it's practically an arcade game at this point, and it should have stayed like that. While moving to eFootball, look at how unenthusiastic,
The next day.
Look at how unenthusiastic the interface looks. Outside of the ads thing right here, there's not much going on. Also, the packs even look miserable. Like, look at all of these cards, and look at what you're actually getting. There's not too much happening, and I mean, that's fine. The players look... Okay, no amount of graphic enhancement will make Francesco Totti not look good in a selfie. But honestly, I mean, it's not too bad. I can still at least recognize that that is Kevin De Bruyne. And there is a good reason for this, but I will explain later in this video. Okay, let's get into the real meat of this section, the gameplay analysis. And I will be as fair as I can possibly be because it's really hard to make a football game not shitty, especially when it's on mobile platforms. The gameplay in eFootball is so much more challenging. Passing is still horrible. I'm sorry, I prefer passing with a power meter that actually goes to where I want it to go because it's a much safer method. And it's also even worse when the player loves doing no-look passes. Like, please stop doing this shit. Don't your parents teach you to look both ways before you cross the street? Funny enough, the game still can't register whether it's offensive or defensive, leading to calling the second defender being delayed because when the ball is out of reach, the game just assumes that you're still in attacking mode. And a weird problem that is still prevalent is that I still cannot cancel my shooting, and I think you can understand what's going on here. It's so stupid that it led to this little happy accident right here. Dribbling in this game is a fucking fairy tale. Even worse than that, through ball is universally agreed by the fanbase to be a scam. And something I really fucking hate about eFootball is that if the player is not from a center midfielder to an attacker, then that player's responsiveness and ball control are equivalent to a lobotomized zombie. Like, what? Just because I'm a defender or a goalkeeper, that means I don't know how to do anything? And I know Konami is thriving towards realism, but I swear I have seen more amateur players in real life with faster responsiveness than in this game. And for some god knows why reason, Mbappe is so bad at ball handling in this game. I don't mind him being bad at dribbling, but being bad at ball handling is just a no-no. But weirdly enough, there are some merits to this limitation, and I will explain this in later parts of the video. As someone who plays both games simultaneously, I can tell that playing FC Mobile or FIFA Mobile feels safer, because here at least you can predict what's going on here more often than in eFootball, because in eFootball anything can happen, and it makes the experience of shifting from one game to another feels like culture shock. The unpredictability in eFootball can be quite discouraging for new players, and look, I would know. And this unpredictability problem consists of the connection instability still being so omnipresent, making PvP extremely annoying to play.
You know, I live in Vietnam, and not many people play this game here. And so I'm pretty sure I've been meeting the same guy from Thailand 7 times in a row now. He whooped my ass.
Like, the connection was so bad that I got from Division 5 to Division 4 by winning 2 out of 5 games, because in the other 3 the connection was just disrupted and then I got the win for some reason. The scripting in this game is so much more devastating than FC, I cannot lie. I don't know how coding works, but I know how to describe my experience with scripting. In FC Mobile, there's this nature of guaranteed moments, and scripting is there to kinda lower down this probability, and consequently it becomes a middle finger to the people who are actually good at this game, because if scripting is on the other side, your entire team is paralyzed for a random period of time. While here in eFootball, scripting is more clear-cut, but it's somehow more soul-crushing.
Okay. Alright. Okay.
It happens as the game goes on. For instance, if one team leads in the 80th minute, then the rest of the 10 minutes are fucking miserable. Like seriously, you could just stand in front of the goalkeeper and then your player will either freeze himself, just miss point blank, or the goalkeeper becomes prime Yashin. And I feel like it's more likely for you to win if you score in the second half of the game, then your teams would just become Italian defenders out of the blue, because it's very hard to make comebacks in this game. If you conceded twice, no goal scored, then might as well wave the white flag. And you're probably thinking that sounds obvious, like a duh moment, but just look at this montage and feel the pain with me. Yeah, that was the only instance that I got on camera that was this obviously scripted. I know where I'm fine. Yeah, okay, outside of that, another reason why not many people play eFootball is because the events here are bland like porridge. And honestly, I cannot even call these events. It's just like weekly challenges with some pretty decent prizes, some even lasting for 2 weeks, but they can be done in like 1 day. And with all of these drawbacks, as a kid, I don't think I would prefer eFootball too much. Heck, it would probably discourage me from even trying it. Not only is it hard to play, there isn't much motivation to return to it every day. And maybe that is the problem. With me, as a young consumer, was I actually wanting to play a football game for fun? Or was the concept of me playing a game like doing daily chores the same as fun? This perception changed as I grew. I want to play football on my phone, and I also want to be good at it. And I still believe eFootball offers the best at that, because as I peeled off all of this surface level shit, I started to understand why I hate this shit so much more than the one that I deemed as boring. And the first reason is this. You know how FC Mobile players usually like to throw this term around whenever people complain? I always find it funny because what skill issues are we talking about here? Like, what is the skill it takes to do this or this and obviously this? Like, if this term is thrown around eFootball more often, it would probably make more sense, but even then, Konami has already fostered a very healthy game by adding this. Like I said before, eFootball is really hard to play and a lot harder to master, which means if you do become good at it, that certainly is saying something. Seriously, knowing how to pass correctly and doing skills in this game can be game-changing, mainly because the defending in this game is really solid. I'm serious, even for a game that has players slipping around like they're running in Diddy's home, it's somehow really solid. Like, let's start with a simple fact. In eFootball, when your player tackles, they actually fucking tackle and keep the ball out the opponent. Comparing the defending in the FC to eFootball is like a fucking joke. Here in eFootball, knowing how to position your center back right is vital, and doing it right can make your center back a goddamn hero. Or in situations where the opponent is waiting for a pass, you can rush your center back to tackle the ball aggressively to keep the pressure on the opponent. Isn't that wonderful? A game that rewards the players for knowing how to predict the movements and choices of the opponents, and also rewards you for being aggressive and could cost you a counterattack or a goal conceded if you're not. That is some skill-based shit, and this somehow does not exist in FC Mobile. Over here, the game punishes you for basically existing and not giving EA enough money. Like, what is the fucking point of trying to be aggressive if the ball is just gonna phase through your players anyway? But back to eFootball. With a defensive system that is this solid, just dribbling through a center back can be a defining moment for you to score, and that takes timing, and timing takes skill. Where in FC, people can just spam 5 lane changes with their strikers or whatever, and then the defender will just get confused and then walk out of position for no reason, because manual defending is a fucking mess. I have said in part 1 that the player with your input should have all the defending abilities. The second defender should only be there to assist you, and you should not rely on the AI to defend for you. And all of this is in eFootball Mobile. Also, there is auto defending in FC Mobile, which I had already explained in part 1 is so OP and unfair. With that system, I'd argue, what is the skill here? Letting AI do my work? Every time your team set up a bus, it's not because you wanted it to happen, it's just the game setting it up for you because you were a good boy this week. How can you brag about this? This game is practically every college student since ChatGPT exists. Furthermore, it's not so easy to be a prick in this game. There is no meta way to spam in eFootball. For most of the time, you kinda have to do everything differently. This crossing mechanism has a high success rate, but it takes a long time, at least long enough for your opponents to tackle you. Doing skills is super technical because there are so many more skills here, and each skill has its own set of commands. Through balls are again universally agreed to be a scam, so good luck spamming it, I guess. Okay, technically, it's still a very powerful tool, but it definitely requires a good passer and good vision from the player in order to pull off some cohesive passes for your counterattacks. And it can be a lot better if the sensitivity of the D-pad can be lowered down in this game. Something I should recommend to avoid doing in eFootball is trying to waste time. Like I said before, any player from defensive midfielder down to the goalkeeper are really bad at ball controlling and passing to a degree. So let's just say that it is the start or even the second half of the game and you want to be a dick, believe me, your opponent would get really excited. And oh yeah, I must not forget, penalties here is simply guessing where the ball is going. No power measure bullshit. And it is a very accessible way for me to know how much luck do I have this year. Yikes.
No! Saved it! And their fate is sealed!
Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna expect all flowers and rainbows when you walk into eFootball. If anything, you should be ready to try everything and ready to experience a lot of failures and mistakes and hopefully learn from it. But I still think eFootball will teach you a thing or two about getting better at football games, and that's probably thanks to the game's learning process being more concrete. When you play a new online game, probably the first thing you would do is to play offline, and here playing against AI is a great way to practice. Not only is it not stressful, it could probably train you better to get familiar with the gameplay. Compare that to FC, where the only game mode where you can actually get good is just head-to-head itself. Like the AI games here are either too easy or just too hard. There's no middle ground, but more importantly, it definitely won't teach you anything about the game. Instead, all you will figure it out is that, wow, this game is horrible. And if you really think you're gonna be good at attacking by playing versus attack for a week after losing 10 head-to-head games, no! Don't listen to us YouTubers. We are really stupid. I'll give you an actual advice on getting better at FC Mobile. Go play eFootball first, train here with versus AI games, then come back to FC Mobile, delete FC Mobile because nobody would care if you are good at FC Mobile. As I grew, I think it has become so much less cool to be good at FC Mobile. Don't you guys realize that too? Because nobody cares about the gameplay of this game. It's just bland and it sucks, and it's not even worth sharing because people only care about pack openings and bragging about their clickbait channel. How shameless. While here, I can just play a game at top player or maybe superstar difficulty, turn on some Spotify and maybe have some fun. And isn't that what's gaming all about? I might not return to it every day like a parasite, but at least when I do, I have a good reason to. And again, as I said, if you're really good at this game, that is so much more admirable because you've mastered something that is super skill based. Watching people flexing their skills in this game on Instagram or YouTube is so fucking cool. Like, look at this, I bet he gets all the bitches.
Iniesta, no, 6.
And look, you don't have to play rankings, the rewards fucking sucks, and for good reason. I love that Konami diverges our attention more on playing versus AI or events, because it would not build in you this compulsory will to have to play rankings just to get good rewards, and in return you would not get this fear of missing out. You just don't feel like you got to, you don't got to. But if you do, just remember what I said, it's heaven then hell really quickly. So prepare your creativity, tolerance, and 5G tower to experience the ride. Brain versus spam. If you ever wonder what a battle between a player in eFootball Division 1 against someone in FC Champions 1 would be like, I can firmly bet that the battle wouldn't happen because it would be a human against no one, because it's all bots here. So again, I ask, what is the point of getting good at FC anymore, man? It's surprising that eFootball, despite having fewer licensed teams, is much more responsive than FC. Let's take Mickey van de Ven for example. September 29th, 2024, Tottenham Hotspurs vs Man United. 1 assist and a clean sheet for the Dutchman. Solid display, 2 days later, get his own Player of the Week card in eFootball. Meanwhile, at FC... Who? Okay, they did give him a card in the recent Halloween event, but it's a bit too late, don't you think? Mr. Van de Ven has been cooking since last season, and you only got him a good card recently? And it's not just him. There are so many players who have had outstanding performances in real life but seem to go unnoticed in FC just because EA is slow, or maybe they just hate the teams that these players play for. I just can't tell. I still believe that there has to be some level of bias in EA. It still annoys me that Atalanta, despite having an amazing campaign in 2023-2024, got nothing, no good cards in this game. And I thought that this was some licensing revenge story, but Napoli still had 2 Team of the Season cards, so I guess they just can't stand Atalanta. Things are a lot simpler in eFootball. If a player has a good match, they receive a good card, and it's amazing how this game keeps up with the date really well. If a player has a change in their hairstyle or beard, then eFootball is always the first game to change their models. Compare that to FC, where we have to be stuck with Antoine Griezmann's shaved head for a damn year. And I already mentioned this example before, but Kobe Mainu, despite just getting his face modeled this year, had the last year's haircut, so how slow is EA? This may not seem like a big deal at all, but it does highlight where EA and Konami choose to focus their resources on. EA really just put money into their events and their features, and it wouldn't really cost them too much, and in return it brings them more profit. You can call it optimization, but I just think it's just laziness. While Konami is really just trying to polish the game, and it is the same game, but Konami always focuses more on the football, which is just respectable. You know, since the game was rebranded from PES to eFootball, things have changed like a little bit. eFootball started to become more of a card collecting game, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I don't always want to try too hard just to get some black balls. And I think Konami saw that FIFA Mobile is doing well with the card collecting mechanism, and maybe they thought, why not do that? And so they did. So comparing the card collecting aspect of both games, I think eFootball, even without a market, you either keep the card or discard them, is somehow better here, because the cards here are worth collecting. They don't suck, and since the upgrading system here is so simple, or some Play of the Week cards come with upgrades already on them, all of that makes collecting cards in eFootball actually fun to do. You might not use them all the time, but since the events in this game bounce around different leagues, you will eventually have to use these cards at some point. That gives them usability, which is something EA is really trying to kill for some reason. It's also important to mention this, I have played this game for a while and I have never experienced FOMO, fear of missing out. All of the cards in eFootball revolve around the same margin of stats, and it never goes on beyond that. This would mean a card that is all the way back from February, like this Player of the Week Kyle Walker, would still be reliable to this day. And also, I love how eFootball respects legends, from legitimate legends to momentary sensations. And just getting an icon in this game is a pretty huge deal, at least for us free-to-play users, because that one icon can practically carry a whole team. In contrast, in FC games, icons are just like any other player. Packing these icons is just so disheartening. It would go something like, holy shit, that's David Beckham, and then, oh, he's untradeable.
And I have to save up some Mascherano's for 2 weeks just to actually use them. And I have to strain my eyes just to upgrade him to level 25. And even then, he can't even dribble because it's not 140 yet. Therefore, I have to rank him up to orange. That would mean I have to wait for 4 weeks just to do so. And then I'll have to buy a new pair of glasses to upgrade him up to level 30. But then, after new cards come out in the future, this card would be obsolete, and even then I can't even fucking sell them. Therefore, I'm not gonna do that. But I won't go anywhere in head-to-head if I don't do that. And I'm definitely not spending money on this game because I fucking hate this shit. We barely look at the images of these legends like they're footballers anymore. They're just corporate products in our eyes. And moreover, the game's meta just ruins their abilities even further. You guys remember Lars Rickens? EA gave him 2 cards, both of which were underwhelming because he clearly doesn't fit the meta. Therefore, EA proceeds to forget that he ever existed. So much for honoring icons in this game. I don't know, man. Imagine having a monopoly amount of models and licenses just to not give a shit. Konami, with so much less, at least tried their best with what they have. And I know this is an unfair comparison, but I'm not forgiving EA for the fact that all their fucking cards would have better value if the gameplay wasn't so demanding. Like I said again, the upgrading system in eFootball is really simple. That would reduce the commitment just for upgrading the card and focus that more on enjoying the fucking card. In eFootball, the most beloved icon is Alessandro Costa Curta, a player I bet you haven't even heard of before this video, because he is as good as all of these players combined. I managed to pack Paul Scholes in this game, and I've been using this card for 10 months now. Recently, Andres Iniesta retired from football, and just a few days later, Konami just put out this little challenge for everyone to get Iniesta for free. And guess what? He's fantastic. Also, I must not forget, this game has Peter Drury for commentary, and that is an automatic W.
And nobody in this atmosphere can hide from the truth about how much this game matters. The scene overflows with colour and passion.
Even for a game, you can definitely tell that he's pouring his heart out for it.
Now it's Ronaldinho, shapes to shoot. Oh, screamer! About as smooth as it gets. And this is getting ridiculous, borderline crazy.
And since the game is striving towards realism, there are a lot of additional features that are just so charming. Like after getting promoted up a division or winning an event, a set of animations will play and it's just so adorable. Or how the game has more features for team tactics and individual instructions that can help change the way you play. You know, elements typically found in PC or console games that Konami somehow managed to fit all into a mobile game. That is just really impressive. I have said this before, but not everyone has a computer or PS5 to play high quality authentic games. The best device that we have is just our goddamn phone or a mom's tablet to enjoy our lives. And outside of scrolling through brain rot every day, sometimes we want to play games. So why is it so hard to deliver us football fans an optimized video game for us to enjoy? Oh wait, EA did have that and they fucked it. What the hell? Oh no, even with the challenging gameplay, not enough licensed team, total neglect of German teams, Konami still manages to make a football game that is so much more responsive and even more respectful than EA. You can criticize eFootball for being boring, the frustrating Wi-Fi issues, or not having outstanding events, but what you cannot criticize is the company's determination to make a no other woke nonsense football game, and I am just so horny for that. You know, even when a game doesn't blow you away, give you meaningful insights, or make you want to play it from time to time, I think eFootball Mobile delivers a surreal experience all packed into the screen of mobile devices. It is a game that is really worth sharing with friends and those who love football or those just looking for something more immersive. I think there is a stigmatization when it comes to mobile games, and that it shouldn't be really good because the standards are usually low. While that is a common perspective, I think it undermines the efforts of the teams and developers of these games. These aren't just any small mobile games that get advertised haphazardly on social media. These are products made by billion-dollar companies with established reputations, and therefore we, the consumers, should hold higher standards even if it's just mobile games. eFootball, despite being the underdog, has a stronger fan base for just being a really good game for people to play, like actually fucking play and not posting the level 30 Ballon d'Or R9 to boast about their grind of making content for toddler baby boo-boos, but I'll digress. I'm serious when I say that we have not had a mobile game that does things this generous until eFootball decides to do it. Not only does it fulfill the primary mobile game purpose of relieving stress or to relax, it also achieves as being a game to improve your gaming skills and something to share with others. And that was my review of eFootball Mobile. Well, not entirely. You see, the series has been and is about criticizing FC Mobile, and the main purpose of this video was to use eFootball as an example to show you a game where people actually enjoy playing rather than any other trivial reasons. Because for FC Mobile, I don't think EA really knows what they are trying to focus on for this game. They want people to play this game more, but yet they make the events first so boring, and then they make the integral functions like buying, ranking, upgrading so demanding, wow, even glitchy, and even the gameplay, the fucking bread and butter, so bad. And it is a damn shame that I know that the game really wasn't like this. Seeing this game's downfall, although was quite sad, is totally fucking deserved on EA's part. But more importantly, it has been more of an opportunity for me to self-reflect on how this game kind of destroyed me a little bit. Let's talk about FC Mobile again. To sum up the 4 videos that I've made talking about this season, I would use the word cancerous to describe the changes made in FC Mobile. It might not show problems initially, but it just slowly exacerbates. I have to be honest, the gameplay in the first few months wasn't even bad. It felt slow, grounded, but the responsiveness was still there. It felt like Season 6, but like a little bit better. But the problem was that spamming became a problem again. But this time, it's kind of brainless. Crossing headers was unstoppable, as well as the kickoff glitch that somehow migrated from the console game to the mobile games now, which EA has still refused to fix. And the basic reason for this spamming epidemic is that defending in FC Mobile has been, and still is, abysmal. After 2 gameplay updates that promised better gameplay had instead done the exact opposite. Everything that EA said they fixed is still here, ruining the game for everyone. The movement feels unresponsive, jagged, almost like the players run while being blindfolded. Things have become less manual as automatic assistance is nearly fully integrated, limiting the player's free will to the point that I don't even feel like I'm the one doing the defending anymore. It's like I have to support something to defend for me. Like, who is the player supposed to be here? Because when I do try to defend, the game intentionally sabotages it, literally blocking the defender in my control. This just highlights how terribly integrated the automatic defending in this game is. I swear, the standard for just normal, comprehensive gameplay has become, for the most part, unreachable. Smooth dribbling, speed, good crossing, or good defending all require reaching a certain number, and it has only become higher. In the April update, it was 130 to 140, and in the January update, it was 150 to 170, and now it has become... Want your players to pull off a quick lane change or a little bit faster at ball controlling like how it normally should be? Well, they gotta have 185 agility at least. And oh yeah, with that kind of agility, your strikers get superpowers. The defender tackles normally and the ball is still yours. Because fuck defenders, I guess. Even having that, you would hope that you'll get to experience this every time. But you're not gonna get this every time. Because this game inconsistency is baffling.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
Oh, your player has a 4-rated left foot, he's dribbled through the entire team, he only faces the goalie, only a light shot, and the goal is yours. Well, of course he's gonna miss here, and here, but not here. Yeah, a CDM standing on his back did a 180-degree turn, took the shot with his less preferred foot, and that shit obviously has to go top bins. And I really fucking hate these moments where your defenders and their attackers can't hold the ball for shit, and then they just run into each other as if it's SmackDown Battle Royale. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? And maybe that's why EA added auto clearance. It's like putting a bandage on a patient with cancer. Like, if you want EA to add something, they might do it. If you have no desire to have something removed, they will remove it. But if you want EA to fix something, then nah. Remember when EA said that they removed skill stun? Well, that was an obvious fucking lie. One lane change and the defender still freezes. One heel-to-heel flick or step over an exit and they still freeze as if the gravity of the earth just pulled them down and they're just stuck there. And come to think about it, why did you add this shit in the first place? Like, I cannot think of any other reason outside of it creating a gap between free-to-plays and play-to-win. And even then, it makes no sense at all because my defender with 170 still freezes regardless. So why the fuck did you add this? Just stop, let's move on. You see, failure is the mother of all success. But in this game, when you lose, you learn nothing because things aren't in your control. How is it my fault when my players just decide to act? Okay. How is it my fault that my players just decide to tackle automatically? How is it my fault when my defenders just don't decide to move when the opponents do the kickoff glitch? How is it my fault when my defenders decided to commit battery instead of playing football? How is it my fault when the fucking referees forgives literal murder attempts and smack the hammer of injustice against someone literally doing nothing? And how is it my fault when my teammates don't like each other? I'm serious, the biggest enemy isn't even your opponents anymore. It's your fucking teammates. They will be there to not receive a pass and let the shit goes out of play. They will be there to literally block your pathways both in attacking and defending. And they will not be there when you need them the most. I guess EA is putting third graders in the AI movements department because the players are running into each other all the fucking time. Come on guys, can we please stick together for just one time? No, not like that! Yeah, apparently players are just making out on the pitch right now. What is this, Jude Bellingham? Oh yeah, wanna see some stupider shit?
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
And I guess I wasn't the only one who had this. You know, it's just the shit that should be normal is now abnormal. And yeah, it looks pretty funny, but it's really bad because it does affect gameplay. Like, how am I supposed to pass safely when the game's passing is already trash and the players are delivering each other diabolical back shots? It's maddening. And it's been like this for a year now. I swear, every single thing I said in part 1 still holds up to this day. And that video is already 8 months old. It is just so hard to enjoy this game now, man. Outside of the gameplay being shit, to even experience decent gameplay, you're looking at a mountain of tasks to overcome. Or is it? This game is really good at tricking the players, indirectly persuading them to either invest time or money in order to keep up with the game's meta, exploiting the player's fear of missing out. And why do I believe this? It's because you don't always need to invest into this kind of team just to climb ranks. You can do it the underdog way, or as I like to call it, the scripts-reliant way. I should have said this before, you can still climb ranks with a purple to red ranked team. You can get to FC Champions 3 by being free to play in probably 2 weeks at most, because I did that twice. You only need to be competent, of course, and you must not concede 2 goals or something. I swear, it's like a very quotable screenplay at this point. You only needed to be at World Class 1 just to see these kinds of teams, which to a new player would project this as a norm, like the kind of teams that anyone in these kinds of ranks should have to even compete. Never in any of the past seasons have I seen this, but this is where the script's reliance comes in. The game will put your defenders in situations where the opponents cannot use heel-to-heel flicks, and your strikers will position themselves strangely well, while the opponent's defenders, regardless if it's Neon Laurent Blanc or Team of the Year Lilian Thuram, will become dog asses, leading to you getting those pretty close call wins basically. Unless you're me, of course, but what's actually funny is that technically, the opponent's godlike team is only one correct heel-to-heel flick or through ball from completely handicapping your team. Once they score a goal like this, you will actually start feeling like you're a poor person fighting against a mafia boss.
If you open your legs that easily, people are gonna think you're a loose guy.
To put it simply, yes, you can compete as free-to-play, but it's really tricky because this game's skill-based matchmaking is an illusion. And as a pay-to-win, there's a huge chance that when your team meets a weaker team like my goofy-ass team, the opponents will leave with a close call win because you were handicapped. It really begs the question on why people even pay for this game anymore. Seriously, you're not even getting good gameplay. Meanwhile, you're putting money into mostly untradables. Almost every pack in this game leads to untradables. And the tradable ones are either you can only buy it once or platypus shit. How can anyone even sleep at night knowing that they spent 1,000 FC points for burn me alive? And please, as much as you think you can outsmart EA, you can't. The house always wins. But even then, as a casino, this sucks, bruh. You're spending money on ephemeral emotional value, and you might be happy packing an insane untradeable card now, but when the card starts to become behind the meta curve, you cannot sell it. Well, hey, I can at least exchange them, right? But the exchanges are fuck shit! I can only imagine a person enjoying this just because they don't know what's actually better. But bro, let people enjoy this.
Shut your stupid
I don't care! You shouldn't be eating food off the floor and smile about it. You do not deserve this.
Like, I understand that the user base of this game is mostly really young, but that doesn't mean that kids should deserve something good.
I can only wish the merit coming from this video were that kids would make fun of other kids for paying money in this game. Like, seriously, stop.
Get some help.
It should be held in higher regards to be good at this game while being free to play, but I guess EA really doesn't like that, and I understand why some kids are tricked by this. Outside of the pay-to-win illusion in rankings, with the most recent Team the Season promo, EA just straight up discriminates against free-to-plays at this point, resetting the extra time tokens, asking for 100 and 104 exchanges just to get 15 million.
Up here is what's causing me the most physical discomfort. It's like a visceral reaction of discontent coming from this area. This area is not good either. I hate this, but I'm mainly worried about this.
And scamming us for 80 million into untradables, and the worst of all, these shards prices are crazy.
So you're telling me that now that I have Maldini and I want to convert him to get shards for, I don't know, maybe Marco van Basten because I already have too many center backs, and these two cards are the same OVR, I would only be 1/5 of the way? Holy shit.
Yeah, continue to applaud EA for their re-edition of the shard system, and now they're exploiting the ball sacks out of it. They should not have even received any credit for this in the first place. They aren't offering you anything new, and you know what's also not new? The fucking bots. Yeah, I ain't calling them hackers, okay? That shit's dumb. Because they're a bunch of basement dwellers, so desperate for attention that they're cheating in a mobile game on life support. If you're new to this game, well, how these fuckers function is that they alter the results at the end of the game. And believe me, I'm really doing a disservice by giving these fuckers any attention, because firstly, this is what they want. You know, even though I'm describing them as if they're 5th graders buying hacks from Bing, apparently some of these cheaters still paid their souls for EA, and they're still cheating. Like, what? And secondly, they'll never get punished by EA. In fact, bots have been in this game since FIFA Mobile 20, and from what I found, most of the cheats in the past seasons were in versus attack more, and it's probably only the recent 2 years that the number of head-to-head cheats fucking exploded. And I'll tell you what, EA definitely knows about this issue. They just refuse or just too lazy to fix it. The most that they have done so far are temporary bans, but then the drain flies, they multiply quite quickly, so EA response to that has been, well, fuck it, I ain't doing this shit no more. Cause realistically speaking, those players rarely meet these drainflies. I mean, they are still there in the leaderboards, a bunch of them, but to encounter them in gameplay is not common. But at least that's from my experience. And I'm not trying to protect EA here, I'm just saying it like how I imagine EA would talk about it, because when they do attempt to address it, it is fucking embarrassing. In 2021, right before Team the Season, EA announced the banning of 10,000 accounts for cheating in PvE/AI matches. I repeat, PvE/AI matches. It's not the cheaters in PvP that were banned, so I assume that these accounts were farmer accounts or something. You know, accounts that were making a living in a way that wasn't rubbing EA the right way. And you know how game developers hate farm exploits, and the community reaction to this was just confusion, because the reason for this wave of banning wasn't mentioned, and also the timing was just perfect, because it happened on Team the Season of all promos. And I remember distinctly that EA posted one of their terms of service in the response to this banning, and this shit really flared up my ass. Games are at their best when everyone can play on a level playing field. Cheating, phishing, hacking, or anything else that gives you a competitive advantage ruins the experience for everyone and impacts the game's balance.
So EA kicked the farmer accounts and framed it as if they kicked the PvP cheaters? You didn't kick the people that ruins the experience for everyone and impacts the game balance. This is a completely different issue that harmed EA, but not the majority of the players. So why were you framing as if you actually created an anti-cheat? I will not believe in EA until they actually create an announcement of them creating an anti-cheat that actually solves the issue. And when I go to the leaderboards, there will no longer be those accounts like OVR 76, but 3 billion cups. Alright? But in the end, the botting problem in this game is probably too small to matter in the eyes of EA, so I guess it doesn't really matter if the community try to voice this out. I do think that with more of the big FC Mobile influencers voicing this problem out directly on their main social platforms, it would probably create greater pressure for EA to actually enact And recently, EA did tweet that they are taking actions to address this issue, but considering how they have dealt with this issue in the past, it's really hard for me to believe that any effective measures will be implemented this time.
And also, this isn't the only issue they have on their hands now, isn't it? The gameplay, the events, the total lack of innovation in anything they have done so far in FC Mobile has really put me in this position of absolute hopelessness. Considering EA's history with this game and their focus on mainly accessibility and only accessibility rather than quality, further reinforced this feeling for me. But honestly, I thought again, what am I even making fun of exactly? In the end, it's just a mobile game, no? And most of the people you see playing this game on YouTube or whatever don't really play it. They're just mostly here for card collecting and advertising pack openings. They would be making a 24-minute video opening packs for 21 minutes and playing the game for 3 minutes, which is like one game. They won't even win, they won't even give you any good gameplay, but nobody cares because I guess the gameplay isn't even the main part of this game to begin with. And seriously, I really feel like EA looks at this game the same way too. Ads about their packs being in every corner of the game really makes me question, is this even a football game to begin with? And again, does EA even want to make that? Yeah, I mean, eFootball is an overall better football game, but is it more successful than FC Mobile? Well, sadly, not even a chance. Because of its accessibility, as well as how great the pack luck usually is for new players, FC Mobile can pull people in and they won't even have to play the game. They'll just have to be there, watch ads, open packs, and that's enough to help FC make more money than eFootball ever can. So despite acting like it's desperate, it's still pretty much alive. Yeah, the gameplay aspect of it is dead, but most people don't play it, so why fix it, right? Seriously, EA blabber about how they were gonna address something, or how they were gonna add something, and so far it has been lies or a half promise. I really think they are just using AI to manage this game at this point, and can you blame me for thinking it when I read the headline like this and not imagine EA would not do the same thing for FC Mobile? And if that were to be true, and an AI is managing this game, then I should not hope for any improvement in it. To add further to this hopelessness, there has been this debate about whether season reset should happen or not, and in my opinion, I don't think it will, but I hope that it does, and if EA were to do it, then they must offer the players something new, not new events, new game modes, literally anything else other than Ultimate Team, campaign mode, career mode, kickoff, voter, yada yada yada. Give us something that makes the football game more of a football game for once, so the new players can be excited, while the old players can at least have some remedy for losing their entire fucking team again. Technically, when EA resets a season, they would be in our debt, so in order to fulfill that debt, there must be a better product. But doing this would at least require EA to make the game more than 1 gigabyte, and you know they cannot have that, so we cannot hope for much. It'd be really difficult for anyone to convince me this game will ever get better if I cannot even convince myself.
But even with all this hopelessness, I know a lot of people still plays this game because, well, the market doesn't really have many choices, and also eFootball isn't really the easiest football game to play. So I understand why many people feel like they're stuck here. So I'd like to leave this little wisdom as somebody who has played this game for 6 goddamn years for you, the viewers, the players. One thing I'm always aware when critiquing this game is that sometimes the game will just feel fine, like every player, they would just run like they had eggs for breakfast. But I am aware that when I am experiencing that high, I am not looking at the whole picture, because the other side, my opponents, is getting fucking handicapped. It really feels like a coin toss would happen before every game you play, and then sometimes it will feel like you're on the shorter end of the stick every time. And when that happened, you would lose game after game, as you have like no idea why everyone in your team suddenly plays like morons for no reason. And in those situations, you will start to feel like you're not good enough. And when the next opponent starts throwing out these emotes,
you will actually start to solidify that idea. Usually when this happens, people will start spending money, because they think that their team isn't good enough. No, I cannot climb ranks with my Mbappe. I gotta have Marco or Ronaldo. But then when you play another game, your team will end up losing to a goal like this, despite having Team of the Year Maldini in defense. So please don't do that. Meanwhile, most people I see, they will just carry on so they can get that one win so they can calmly sleep at night. But realistically, you're actually still 5 losses and 10 draws from getting that one win. So please don't go down further. Here's the advice. Put down the phone, take a 20-minute break, or even better, come back the next day, and believe me, your team will actually start to play better. For no reason, I don't know, because at least that's what I did. I always thought this was just like a problem of mine until I literally saw somebody else experiencing it. Then I got a better idea of how addictive this game actually is. And I feel like this doesn't relegate only to FC Mobile, but it definitely still applies for any sports games or games out there, mobile, PC, or consoles. So the advice here is to just stop before you start hating what you have, and then maybe even yourself. I'm not really trying to be a hero or whatever, but sometimes I feel like people tend to forget that they're not really in control of what they're doing. Gamer rage might look funny on the outside, but on the inside, it's something else, Oh wow, that's all I wrote, huh? After publishing part 4, I only came back to the game to check out the new updates for one day, and oh wow, what the fuck has it become? People were saying that they were playing mostly against bots in rankings until Legendary when they actually met a human being. Like, how ironic is that? And Nicholas 7 is still meeting more of them bots, so I guess EA had done fuck all. And I can't really tell whether the gameplay changed or not, and I'm not really interested in experiencing it because I already deleted the game again, and I don't think I will ever return to it anymore, man. Outside of seeing a future without it, another basic reason for this is that without FIFA, I don't know how EA is going to make the World Cup 2026 worth waiting for, especially knowing what they had done when they didn't have the access to official licenses. So I cannot even imagine myself coming back to a football game for the World Cup, and yet I am very much looking forward to it. Making this video has definitely been a rereading of my diary. I have been here for a long time, and I'll be honest, my relationship with this game has been quite toxic. I leave, but then I would still come back for one reason or another. Many others who have walked away in the past did so in silence, and it's probably the most sensible way to do so, but when I do it, I still find myself coming back. And one of the main reasons is because of YouTube. Making videos based on that stupid fucking mobile game really saved me at a very low time of my life, well, everyone's life, that is, and I learned a lot just by doing so. Video editing and scripting, it barely cost me anything, which is great, but like those who have left, their departure stems from certain changes to the game that had them feeling betrayed, and mine was the April 2024 update, which really motivated me to spend 4 months gathering and filtering footage just to make part 1 of this rant series. And I know that after making these kinds of videos, I can never come back to this game normally anymore. I have pretty much blown up the bridge between me and this game, and what else can I do except moving on?